Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Today's sponsor is Audible. They're the leading provider of spoken audio and entertainment. Listen to an audiobook wherever and whenever you want. I do. For more information, to get your free trial, go to audiblepodcast.com/Lutz, audiblepodcast.com/LUTZ. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1590 WPSL. And it's time for another Triple Lutz Report. Got a lot of ground to cover. We haven't done a Triple Lutz Report in little more than a week. So much has happened. First, did you see the story about wealthy New Yorkers, the 1%? They go to Disney World and they don't like the lines, and they're part of the 1%. Why should you have to wait on a line? The nerve of having to wait with the peasants to go see Mickey, to go see Minnie. I mean, it's indignant. I mean, who are you to make them wait online? So gaming the system, and you know I always love to game the system because there's a certain perverse gratitude and satisfaction that comes into play when you can stick it to the man. And when you can stick it to the mouse, it's even better. So what are these wealthy 1%ers doing? Well, there's an exemption to waiting online, and that is if you are a disabled child, a disabled individual, you can go to the front of the line. So what are they doing? They're hiring disabled tour guides, usually kids, young teenagers or 12-year-olds, to get them to the front of the line. And they probably pay the kid a couple $100. I mean, for the kid, it's a windfall. It's brilliant. But for the rest of us who don't have access to hiring a disabled kid, well, you're just going to have to wait online to see Mickey and Minnie. And a few years ago, SouthPark did an episode where the kid was pretending to be disabled so he could get into the Special Olympics and win all the gold medals. And this is exactly the same. This is what we're seeing because some people are better than others. And look, Disney, just let them pay more to get their express pass. All right. In addition, if you can't afford to hire the disabled to help you beat the lines in Disney, well, why not just take your kid and make him look disabled? I guess somehow you could make him look like he's got Down syndrome. Just tell him to act slow. I don't know. Maybe you put a big scar on his forehead and say he got lobotomized or something. Whatever it takes to beat the lines, that's the important thing. At least at Universal Studios, you could just pay more, and then you kind of go in the back door. So if you don't want to wait online, you pay for it. But Disney is an egalitarian company that believes that all of their customers are equal. So this is what we're faced with here. The next thing, guess what? Another life imitating FSN. That old stalwart of American junk food, the Twinkies, and the Ring Ding and whatever else they had, maybe the Ding Dong. I don't remember what else Hostess made. And Wonder Bread, they are coming back. And just like I promised you, the Twinkie is now competitive. The Twinkie has trimmed down. He's cut costs, and he can now compete in the world of competitive junk food. Supposedly, they're hiring 1,500 employees to staff one of the bakeries that shut down. 18,000 jobs were lost. And look, the Twinkie, kind of anachronistic. I guess they still have a market for the stuff. Not me. Maybe I ate it when I was 10 and I didn't know any better. And I thought that goo tasted good. And I'm not putting it down. If you like it, hey, more power to you, then you should eat it. To me, it was mostly chemicals and just was not really a pleasant culinary experience, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to have it. And The assets, like I told you were going to happen, got bought up in bankruptcy. The company owns the brands. I guess they own Twinkies, Ring Dings, maybe they own Yodels. I don't know what else there is. And probably Hostess Bread. And there was an interview with one of the union drivers, and he's upset. He says it's just not going to be the same old Twinkie. And obviously having a unionized driver and a unionized baker force added some taste to the Twinkie, some element to it, some appeal that I just can't appreciate. But you know as well as I know that this is the fate of unionization. And believe me, the management of Hostess, equally to blame. They were incompetent. They just got one bad manager after the next. They didn't invest in their equipment, in their fleet. They wouldn't automate. To some extent, the unions were responsible for it, but to some extent, they didn't work properly with their unionized staff. And now they're paying the price in going bankrupt and selling off the assets. I think the new Twinkie, it's part of another lineup, another company's lineup of products, is going to do quite well because there's a lot of people out there that probably hadn't eaten a Twinkie in 25 years, like yours truly, that said, wow, you know, I really miss that gooey, chemical-laden, creamy thing. I want to go buy some. And they were going for on eBay for ridiculous amounts of money. But look, this is American enterprise, free enterprise at its best. Assets should go from the people who don't make the most of them, who can't capitalize upon them, to the people who can. And in this case, we wish the new owners of Twinkies the best of luck. Keep your costs low, keep your product quality high. Although with Twinkies, that's really an oxymoron. There's only so much you could do with it. But hey, maybe they'll come out with an organic Twinkie, a highly enriched, nutritional Twinkie that you'll be proud to stuff in your kid's lunchbox. Up next, I want to talk about the new Robin Hoods. It's not what you think it is. And the Great Gatsby and Prohibition. We are back. You are listening to the FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz, and thanks for sticking with us. Oh, wanted to talk to you about Audible. You know they're our newest sponsor. You know I am an Audible fanatic. And if you want to go there, get your free book, get a 30-day membership free. It's audiblepodcast.com/Lutz, audiblepodcast.com/LUTZ. So I went back in my account because I didn't know how many books I'd read exactly when I started. I started my Audible book foray in 2007 in July. Somebody bought me a birthday present, got me a subscription to it. And from that time, I have listened to over 250 books. I couldn't believe it myself. It comes out to, we're looking at about, it's going to be 6 years. So basically, I listen to 40 books a year. In my heyday, the most I ever read was one book a week, but I couldn't keep that pace up. I would generally do 30 to 35 books a year. Our former president, W., he supposedly was doing close to 100 books a year. I mean, where did he find the time to do it? Our current occupant prefers golf to reading, and I don't blame him. But the best thing about Audible, if you've got a lot of downtime, if you're driving in the car, if you're at the beach, if you run, you can listen to the Audible book. Hey, at the gym, it's really a great thing. I really enjoy it. I'm listening right now to the Jack Reacher series. Contrary to the portrait of Tom Cruise playing Jack Reacher in reality, or I should say in the actual printed volumes, Jack Reacher is 6'5", weighs 250 pounds. So he's roughly double the size of Tom Cruise. And, you know, the guy is solid muscle. Basically, he's a human pile driver. Anybody that gets near him who pisses him off, he just turns into dust. And after listening to the books, I don't think I could ever watch Tom Cruise play a tough guy again because this guy's the genuine article. He's an MP, former MP, and an investigator, brilliant detective. So it's an MP, military police detective thriller series. And even after he's out of the Army, the government keeps coming back to him and tracking him down to handle cases because they don't have anybody who can equal him. So go to audiblepodcast.com/Lutz, audiblepodcast.com/LUTZ. You're going to love it. Get the free book. Check it out for 30 days. You don't like it, you cancel, you move on. But I think you will like it. And there's so many titles to choose from. Over 100,000 books are there. And the newer books are all there. Older books can be a little spotty, but go there, check out your favorite author, and probably you'll see that they've got them there and you're going to enjoy it. audiblepodcast.com/Lutz. Now we're back. So this one is about the Robin Hoods, the modern day Robin Hoods. And it's just such a funny story. I just totally enjoyed it. I think you will too. So there's this group of, I guess they're anarchists in Keene, New Hampshire. And if you haven't been to Keene, they have the most gorgeous sandy bottom lake in the world. You could drink from it. And I'm not a camper. I think you know that. I'm a car camper. If I got to camp, I'll stay in my car and lay down there, put the seat back, and hope for the best. But if you're predisposed to camping, I highly recommend it. Go there. So there's a group of anarchists. There's like 6 of them, and they watch the meter maids, and they go ahead of the meter maids and fill meters who've been expired, whose time is expired, so that you won't get a ticket. And it's kind of cool. And then they kind of go and harass the meter maids, taking videos of them and all that. And so far, since they started their project, they have helped over 4,000 people avoid parking tickets. That is a cool thing. And they don't get any money. They leave a card on your windshield saying, "The Robin Hoods, we're here. We saved you a parking ticket. Send a contribution." And maybe some people do. Maybe they don't. Well, now Keene, the city of Keene, is suing them. And they say they're harassing the meter maids. They're getting too close. They're talking to them. They're videoing them. And this is a horrible thing. And therefore, the city of Keene wants a preliminary injunction against them, a restraining order, barring them getting within 50 feet of the meter maids. And they say that these meter maids are getting upset. They're suffering from heart palpitations, stress, anxiety, and dreams related to this harassment. And the city is concerned that the parking enforcement officers, aka meter maids, will quit. Now, look, these guys have government jobs. You know it. I know it. 80% of these government workers do nothing. The purpose of a meter maid is to make your life miserable, to give you tickets because you got to your meter 2 minutes too late. Now, yes, there's a legitimate reason to have restricted parking. You don't want local merchants having the same car parked in front of their store all day long. Not right. But the converse of that, the whole parking enforcement scheme, is a money grab. It is a scam. It's just there to steal your money. So Robin Hoods, man, hats off to you. I think you're doing a great job. If you're out there listening, I'd like to interview you, get your side of the story. I think you're doing incredible work. And anything that undermines the government in a nonviolent means, that undermines the government's legitimacy, is great as far as I'm concerned. Final thing, Great Gatsby. Re-release, redo of the movie. This is the 4th one. None of the movies are any good at all. They're mediocre productions. I didn't see this one. I've seen 2 or 3 of the others. I don't really want to see them, but I do like Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's an amazing, amazing actor. Really talented. If you saw him in Catch Me If You Can, he really played Frank Abagnale to a T. He's just great. So Mark Thornton, who's over at the Mises Institute, one of our favorite favorite sites there for free market thinking, Austrian economics. There's just nobody better. They're in Auburn, Alabama, talks about the book. And he says the story about opulence and decadence and notoriety and all that over-the-top behavior, it means a lot. But what it really means is it's an indictment of prohibition. And Thornton just happened to have written his dissertation on the economics of prohibition. And now he talks about, having not read it for a while, seeing the movie, he understands it much, much better, because without the 18th Amendment, which instituted prohibition, you wouldn't have had a Great Gatsby. And it made alcohol illegal, but it didn't eliminate it. Illegal producers, they were known as moonshiners. They sold their product to distributors known as bootleggers, who sold it to retail establishments called speakeasies. And everything was under the radar. And there were legal medicinal uses for alcohol at the time. You could get a prescription from your doctor, says, you've got some ailment that only alcohol can treat. And then you go to the drugstore and they'd give you a bottle of whatever it was. And he makes a point that when Prohibition started, Walgreens in the 1920s had 20 stores in the Chicago area. It ended the decade of the 1930s with over 500. So he says he's got to believe that it was not so much their great milkshakes, but the pints of Old Granddad that they were able to sell at high prices that really, really was responsible for their success. One thing he mentions, I think you'll find interesting, is that before Prohibition, you didn't really have a cocktail. People had their alcohol, their gin, whatever, with water. Maybe they had a little soda. They had it straight up on the rocks, but that was it. But because in Prohibition there was so much substandard, high potency, but poor quality whiskey and alcohol, what they had to do was create the cocktail, because then they would mix it with fruit juice, with soda, whatever, and it would cover up the taste of the substandard alcohol, which I think is pretty cool to think about, that you just mix in some fruit juice or some Coke and some bathtub gin, and all of a sudden the stuff, you can drink it. I mean, I didn't know that. If you knew it, hey, let me know about it. And by the way, you want me to interview anybody, you want to get interviewed on the show, I love it when you contact me and you got something to say and you want me to interview you. Please just do it. Don't forget, buy your tickets now to Liberty Mastermind Symposium. You can save $50 on it. All right. It's going to be great. 15 incredible speakers. Robert, Ian, and I are putting this on. Got Martin Armstrong, got David Morgan, and Jeff Berwick, Stefan Molyneux, if his health is permitting, and so many others. It's just going to be a great day. It's not going to be about just preaching to the converted. It's going to be about what you need to do to stay free and happy. And one of my personal favorites in that regard is Captain Capitalism, also known as Aaron Clary. Aaron is a great guy, and he's really got a lot of down-to-earth, good advice for you. So go to the financialsurvivalnetwork.com, sign up for the newsletter, click the link to Liberty Mastermind Symposium, or just go to libertymastermind.us, sign up, save the $50, sign up for the dinner too. You get to mingle, hang out with all of the speakers. It's going to be a great time. Thanks again for listening. It's been another Triple Lutz Report. Kerry Lutz, signing off. This show was brought to you by Audible. When it comes to audiobooks, there's only one place to go. That's audiblepodcast.com/Lutz, audiblepodcast.com/LUTZ. Sign up today, get a free 1-month membership and a free audiobook. And send us an email. Let us know how you like that book.